DIY patches. Let's discuss. Hi, I'm Hayden. I am a part of this channel. If you're new here, Pausine, whoa, it's me and my boyfriend. We make separate content. We make content together. We make the coolest shit. Follow, subscribe, and like. Thank you. But today, it's actually my first solo video on the channel, and I thought I would do something very fun, in my opinion, and something I enjoy a lot, which is making band patches, or just patches in general. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make your own DIY band patches, and this is a no stencil tutorial. So if you're looking for a stencil tutorial, this is not it. This is for the people who want a freehand. Now don't worry, if you're like, oh my god, dude, I don't know how to fucking freehand, that's fine. You don't need to have artistic talent for this, I promise. If you can trace something on an electronic device, and you can fill in the lines, you're good to go. You got this covered. You got this. I believe in you. We're going to be going over a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be showing you every step, materials you're going to need. Without further ado, let's get into it. Subscribe. Thanks. Now, first things first is you're going to need some fabric, and good fabric. You do not want the polyester shit, okay? You do not want some shin fabric. Do not even attempt. No. I recommend getting 100% cotton if you can, but if you can't, anything with a lot of cotton in it is really good. Now, I'm going to be using black fabric for my patches, which is very common, but if you use white, this also applies for you. Get a damn cotton shirt. I'm upcycling a Minecraft shirt. Of course, I'm not going to use the Minecraft logo for my patch, but you get it. So, you want to make sure the shirt is thick. Like, that's why I specifically say cotton, because it's usually the thickest material. And if you don't have, like, a shirt at home, you can just trash or don't, whatever. I highly recommend, like, you do not need fabric, like, go to Fabricland and buy some fabric. No, literally go in your closet, find a messed up black t-shirt that's cotton, and go ham. Or if you don't, go to a thrift store, upcycle some shit. That's how you do it, the DIY way. So, once you have your selected fabric, which I've torn to shreds, you're gonna want to decide what size you want your patch to be. Now, also, take into consideration what you are painting. Are you doing a logo? Are you doing, like, the name of a band? Really think about, do you need it to be wider, big, like taller, like all those things to take into consideration. Now, for the band I'm doing, I'm just doing the band name. So I'm gonna, this is inverted, the camera's inverted. I'm gonna put the photo here. So I'm doing Say Anything because I like the damn band, okay? Knowing this, I know I want the patch to be definitely more like a rectangle instead of something like a square. Take this into consideration, and people, when you're cutting your fabric, leave extra room. Do not cut it too small. Bigger is better. You can trim it down. So, let's get the camera set up and get fucking going. I know, I'm getting real fancy. I got like a camera set up and shit, guys. Okay, well, I didn't have it set up, but I'm setting it up. And bam, we are now on camera view. Now, I apologize, I don't have like a proper like webcam or anything, so bear with me. But this is the lovely view. This is the pretty side. Now, I do recommend, oh my god, please get like a mat or anything. Just put newspapers, anything, because more times than not, the paint will bleed through the fabric a little bit. So, and I just don't stain your table, guys. Just don't. Let's get to cutting. For my dimensions, I think for this patch, I'm gonna go, I don't even know what dimensions that are. I'm just gonna go rectangle. Also, this is not a requirement, but as a bonus, I do recommend fabric scissors, as they are much better to, well, cut fabric. And bam, look at that. I am left with a very uneven cut piece of fabric. Whoa! So, okay, we need it. We're gonna fix this later, but for now, this will do. So you get the rough shape, and I, again, recommend go bigger than smaller, because I'm probably gonna cut off a lot of excess on this, but just in case I make it uneven on one side, I can cut it down if need be. Boom, number one tip. So, once I have my fabric and I'm happy with the shape, we now need to go into the tracing stage, so if you have an iPad, you can use your computer screen, you can use like whatever you want, but it needs to be an electronic, because essentially you want to put the image of the band logo or whatever the fuck you're patching, and then you're going to want to tape your patch down onto said electronic device and trace with a utensil that I will get into. But first, let me get my iPad. And also, I sell these patches on Etsy, so if you yourself are looking for like custom band patches, I do a lot of custom band patch orders. I also do Marble Hornets patches, Legend of Zelda patches, Domokun patches. I got a lot of shit in the works. But if any of those sound cool and you don't feel like making them yourselves, even though this is like a tutorial on to make your own, again, hey, if you want to buy one, sure. Here's my Etsy. You can check it out if you want. But, on with the video. Alright, so now you can see I have my band logo on my iPad now, and it's really important if you're doing black fabric, make sure the band's logo is in white and not black. It'll make your life like 10 times easier coming to trace it. Please trust. Now, I like to import the image into a drawing app like Procreate in case I need to mess around with any of the settings, and by that I mean if I need to make it, you know, like really big or really small, because just of the freeform option Procreate has, I can make it super long if I have a longer patch but it's not that thick, or I can make it fatter and then skinnier. Like it's just really handy to have. Now you're gonna want to have it at a point where you can see through the fabric. Now you can't on my camera, but I can. So as you can kind of see, I can see it through the fabric. So that's what we want. So I recommend turning your brightness all the way up, as I'm about to, and turning off any lights in the room. So the next step, once you have it orientated on the screen properly, you're happy with the sizing, you're happy with the brightness, you're done, you next want to tape this down so when you are tracing, it doesn't go anywhere. Because trust me, you will not be happy if it moves. So just get any tape, really. I use clear tape because clear tape. And tape that bad boy down. So once I have it taped down and I'm still happy with the orientation of it, now it's where we get into the tracing process, which is a little difficult because we're not using a stencil. So we have to use very specific tools to help us actually see on black fabric because it's black. So what I use is a white chalk pencil. As it easily comes off, you can just wash it off once you're done heat setting the patch, and you can actually see it, unlike something like a pencil. Now you can use like a white crayon, but the problem with the white crayons is it's harder to get out of the fabric, but they're still doable. Just be mindful of that when you're tracing. So now we need to get on to the tracing step. So I recommend turning off all the lights in your area so you can see it as visibly as possible. I'm gonna do that now, so welcome to darkness. It's actually not that dark. But you can kind of see it a little better on my phone, but I'm just gonna speed this part up and get to tracing. Alright, so I think I'm done tracing, but just to make sure that it is actually legible, I always recommend turning on the lights again before you take the tape off and look at it, because something might be off and you might want to retrace something, but if you've already taken the tape off, it's hard to find the spot again, and it just gets messy. So just leave it on until you're sure you 100% like its position. But I think I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm now going to take it off and look at it in all of its glory. Now mine is quite light, but you can still make it out enough to the point that you can overlap it with paint. And that's kind of what you're aiming for. As long as you can read it, you're set. So let's remove the tape now from the patch, and before we get to the actual like painting part, I am gonna trim this down a little because we have a lot of excess. So let me do that. Now once I'm fairly happy with the shape it's cut into, this is where we can actually get to the painting step. The paint is one of the most important things, because if you use the wrong paint and you put this in the wash or it gets wet, it can be a disaster very quickly. So the paint that I use is actually fabric paint. It's by Jacquard Textile, meaning it's, you know, made for fabric. And I also have a black one that I use to cover up my whoopsies, aka my fuck-ups. So they're the main ones I use. Now I've seen people use like speedball paint, I think it's called, acrylic paint, shit like that, and they just like Mod Podge it over. Now I've never tried these methods. I don't know exactly how well they work. But I do recommend, if you want to get these wet, you do want to potentially put these in the wash, I do recommend getting something that is made to be on fabric, because if you look here, it says permanent, washable, dry cleanable. If you want to dry this, if you want to put this in the wash, you need fabric paint. I mean, I guess you could do acrylic, it just, I don't know how that's going to turn out. Good luck. I've seen people use it, probably won't come off, but for the most long-lasting, longevity reasons, fabric paint is your way to go, buddy. Now, depending on what exactly you're painting, what the logo looks like, what the band logo, how thick the letterings are, how thin they are, it's going to depend what brushes you're going to need. For this, I'm going to be using a finer tipped brush, just because it's easier to get details down, and even fine brushes will get really gloppy, so I recommend going smaller than bigger first, or else it's just going to be a glop mess, okay? Okay, so now we can begin. We got the paint, the reference, the patch, and a little napkin to wipe our brush on. So let's begin with the very first rough layer. If it looks messy, don't worry, we're gonna go in and touch it up. Just kind of make it legible with the paint. That's the goal of this layer, okay? And so without a further ado, let's go. Alright, I think I'm done my first layer. Now, when I said rough, guys, I mean rough. You just want to be able to read it. Now, as we can see, I already see a lot of mistakes. The lines are not clean, some things are off kilter, some things are smudgy. I'm going to want to fix all of this. But I'm not going to worry about that right now, because the purpose was just to get, essentially, paint to, well, patch. Now I'm gonna go in and thicken up all these lines and make them look a little more cleaner before I address the little mistakes with the black fabric paint. So layer number 12, let's go. Alright, so we've definitely made the text much thicker now. Now, I have noted in my reference photo where the lines are thicker and thinner, but it's not as prominent right now. So the next step is we're going to let this dry and then come in with our black paint and really make the line weight differences much more clear. It all depends on the type of patch you're doing, but usually line weight or something of that matter will come into play, or even you just made a line too thick. So now we're going to fix that up in the next step. So this should take about 10 minutes to dry, give or take, and we will be right back. So I will see you in 10. Yay! Alright, so about 5 minutes have passed or so, and just feeling the patch with my hands, like I'm getting no paint residue off, and it seems pretty dry. I'm gonna say it's safe to say we're good to now start cleaning up. So get your paint, whatever your paint you're using. I'm gonna use my black fabric paint, as we've discussed, and I'm gonna go in and clean up. Now, I will say this is probably one of the more longer steps, just because you have to be very meticulous. So I'm just fair warning you, don't rush this. Just take your time. This is a time process. So this is the before, kind of smudgy, the line weight distance is kind of bleh. And let's see what it looks like after. I will see you in however long this decides to take. Alright, that finishes up our kind of first retouching session. Now, it definitely looks way better than when we first saw it. Way less like sketchy, and it actually looks like a font viewing it from this far away. But when we take a closer look, there's still a lot of inconsistencies and things I want to fix, and now screw-ups I've done with the black. So, unfortunately, no, you are gonna have to clean this up again, but this time with white. So, this will not be your last touch-up, probably. There's multiple rounds of retouching up, and this is probably why it's the most tedious stage of making patches, simply because there is so much touching up and perfecting. Now, of course, you could leave it as is after your first retouch. If you are cool with it, if you're like, you know what, this looks good, I'm done, you know what? Fucking good job. But for me personally, I'd like to add a little more, so if you also want to add a little more, stick around. And also, if If you're good with just this first layer retouching, I'm gonna go over heat settings and stuff. So don't go anywhere quite yet, because I got some tricks for if you want to put it in the wash and want to make your patches washable. So, skip to this if you're done retouching this time. Cool. Alright, I'll see you there. Alright, for the people sticking around, making this more detailed, I get you. We're on the same wavelength. You're my people. Nothing wrong with the people who don't want to retouch. Whatever. You get what I mean. Now, we're gonna go in with the second retouch now with the white. Let's go. Round trois. Alright, round deux. Alright, so it's been 30 minutes and I deeply apologize for this shitty audio quality because I'm on my phone in the bathroom if you can't tell, but we have our patch. You can definitely see it way better now. The really fluorescents make the black stand out a little more than it will, just like in natural lighting. But that's fine for now, but it's completely dry, so now what I'm gonna do is I use a straightener, actually, to iron all my patches. If you have an iron, that's great, but I don't, so what I do is I just put it over my faucet. Now, I have a very unique faucet, so probably not everyone's gonna be able to do this, but I just put it over my faucet, and I just start straightening it out, or heating it, I should say. Now, this should take, you want to at least have 30 seconds. Have a good 30 seconds all over the patch to make sure it gets a nice, even distribution of heat. Now, what this does, it heat seals it, and it makes the paint, it makes it so you can actually wash it. Now, with patches like these, I do recommend hand washing the best for longevity reasons. I have never actually tested out the washing machine method. I've only hand washed, which has been good for me so far. I'm kind of scared to use the washing machine, honestly. But if you end up doing it, please let me know how that goes. But yeah, so I just keep doing this for 30 seconds, and I will see you when 30 seconds is up, I think. Also, I forgot to mention, but it's very important that you iron the back side of the patch, okay? Because you don't want to directly iron it, because it can stick, it can just don't. Just don't. Alright, so now that my 30 seconds are up, our patch is complete. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think this is going to look really good on my patch jacket, which I will probably show in a later video, but it's very a work in progress, hence why I didn't show it. And ta-da, we are now done. So yeah, that is my tutorial on how to make DIY patches. And if you liked this video or found it helpful, like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. And yeah, you will be seeing maybe more patch content if you guys like this. I'm not sure though. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy answer any of them, and yeah, good luck patch making, fellas. Believe in you. Stay strong, soldiers.